social distancing at the chamber. My name is Garrick Taylor. Sometimes we call this segment Happy Hour with Hammer. As always, we're joined by the CEO of the Arizona Chamber, Glenn Hammer. Glenn, it's always a treat when we have a guest on the program, but wow, you have pulled out the A-list tonight. Why don't you introduce our special guest?
Well, no one better than my mom. So
wow.
So first of all, I'm just so happy that my mom looks great. And you know, the phenomenal mom, very, very lucky. You know, they grew up in New York, as you know, but they moved to Pennsylvania for most of the time, with a few months in Arizona. After reading so much Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry literature and going to our events, they decided to move to Arizona full time. So my mom and dad are full-time Arizona residents.
Welcome to the show, Mrs. Hammer. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
All right, well, we're going to talk vaccines, Glenn. So let's do it.
Well, so you know, while my mom looks like she's in her 30s, she just barely qualified for the first round of vaccinations outside of those in nursing care type environments and frontline healthcare workers. And Mom, I just wanted you to walk us through that process, because I think yesterday at about 9 a.m. was about the first time the general population could, who meet a certain age requirement, were allowed to get vaccinated. Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Well, actually, it wasn't at 9 in the morning. It was 2 days. Well, it was on Monday at 6 o'clock in the morning that the registration opened up. And so I set my alarm clock for 10 to 6 in the morning. I like to sleep in, but this was important.
I get up very early, by the way. I'm up by at the latest.
So anyway, at 6 o'clock, I got on the computer, and the first step is you have to register.
Mm-hmm.
And that was quite a project. It took me close to a half hour to get registered, because you have your own patient portal and you input your information, including your medical insurance, et cetera. And then when I went to try to schedule a time and a place, I got an error message.
No, that was through the Maricopa County, wasn't it?
Correct.
Okay.
All these sites led to the same place. And I probably had to try to register about 4 or 5 times. And each time I lost all the information I'd inputted. So I had to put it back in again. And then finally I did get through, and I'm in the East Valley, Northeast, not the East Valley, I'm in the West Valley. And the 2 places that were open in the West Valley that were offered was Abrazo Health in Goodyear, and then Abrazo in Chandler. And I tried to get Abrazo in Goodyear, and I tried one day after the next, and everything was totally booked. And I would get a day, and then they would say there was no time slots. So that was kind of frustrating. And then I knew that the stadium was going to open up on Tuesday, January 11th for appointments, but I was not able to access that site. And then you texted me about 9 o'clock that the site had opened up. So I went back.
The state site.
The stadium site. Yeah, the state site.
From the Arizona State Department of Health.
Correct. So I went back, I had to re-register. And then I went on, and then I selected the stadium as a choice. And from there on in, it was smooth sailing, because I was one of the fortunate people that, you know, I know you, so you texted me. Otherwise, I would not have realized that the site was opening up at 9 in the morning. So I really had my choice of days and times, and that's how I was able to get in on the first day that they were administering the vaccine. But there were friends of mine who did get very frustrated. And, we had calls back and forth, and I was trying to explain to them, how to sign up. And one of the problems was that when you signed up on Monday, I think the date automatically went in for places available on Monday. So people didn't know that they had to change the date to Tuesday, the 12th, so that they could register for the stadium.
Okay. But once you went on, so when you got the error messages and things like that, and you registered initially, that was through the county, the Maricopa County site?
Yes.
And then when you went on around 9 a.m. to the state site, you were able to register, my recollection was pretty rapidly.
Well, I was. Frankly, I didn't realize it was two different sites. I thought it was all one site.
Okay.
I mean, my patient portal is, I'm not sure who it's with, but it's with somebody in Arizona.
I think it's the state. I'm actually not positive about that.
Yeah.
So you signed up, you get the time, and you signed up. So today is Tuesday.
Today's the 12th.
Is today Tuesday, the 12th?
It is.
So you signed up yesterday, the 11th.
Correct.
For today, the 12th. And then
Right.
you explain, okay, so you get through your computer, you get a time, a QR code or something, correct?
Yeah, I got a time. I mean, that in itself was a little confusing. It was Army time. And,
Okay.
and so I initially thought I was signing up for 3 p.m, but I was signing up for 1 p.m. But I got a call last night from one of my friends who still hadn't signed up, and he says, "Judy, help me with this Army time. I don't know how to figure it out." But I did get the time, and then I got an email confirmation about my appointment today.
So you get the confirmation. It's at State Farm Stadium. Can you describe the process? So you drive, how did all of that work?
Okay, well, they ask you to get there 15 minutes before your appointment. And I just want to state, please bring your registration with you when you go, because if you don't, it complicates matters. And we got there actually a half hour before the appointment. And there's a lot of lines involved, but
let me just say, my mom is much more punctual than I am. So,
and so what the first line is, they check you at the gate to make sure that you have a registration form. I'm not sure what happens if you don't. And then they tell you to get on a particular line, and you wait, and then they sign you in. And then after you're signed in, you go to a different line where you get vaccinated. And it wasn't the state troopers who were there. It was the there were state troopers there, as well as a lot of National Guard there. And
right.
there's a huge number of people, but a lot of people helping. And, then once you get the vaccination, they ask you different questions about your health and if there are any issues. And if there are issues, they put some kind of a tag on your car, and you have to wait 30 minutes after you get the vaccination before they let you leave. Otherwise, it's a 15-minute wait.
Great.
But they were very efficient. And the whole process took, I would say, between an hour and a half and an hour and 40 minutes.
Did it hurt, the shot? Was it easy?
No, not at all.
How about the follow-up shot? How do you have something built in where it's 3 weeks you're supposed to get the second dose?
Yeah, after you wait for the 15 minutes, they give you your card. And it's pretty much the same card for everybody. It's not for you specific, but it tells you which date you're to come back on. And I think it's 3 weeks out. And you have to go back online to select a time.
I see.
So I want to say that it's wonderful that Arizona set this up because it's outdoors. You sit in your car throughout the whole process. Some of my friends have mobility issues, and they were very, very concerned about whether they would have to stand on line. We sat in the car the whole time, and you're exposed very briefly to, you know, people who are asking you questions, giving you the shot, and everyone has masks on. So I felt very safe with the process. And I spoke to my daughter in New York, and she mentioned that in Westchester County, they had to go to the county center, and everybody was indoors. And people felt when they were there that they were going to probably end up with the COVID if they didn't walk in with it to start with.
Well, why? I don't know why my sister Lisa remains in New York. I mean, we've been telling her for years, move out to Arizona. But you know, what can you do? She's a great sis. Great sis.
No, she is. And everyone was very polite and very patient.
Mrs. Hammer, you waited your 15 minutes before you went home. You mentioned that folks who typically have allergic reactions, they need to wait a little bit longer.
30 minutes.
So tell us, any side effects? You feel fine? Good?
Fine.
Good.
No, it didn't hurt getting the shot, you know, no problem at all. And they were very cautious and very careful about everything. And I was very pleased with the whole process.
That's great to hear.
Well, if mom is pleased, there's no complaints from her son. So I'm really so happy to hear. And I hope that you can spread the word with your friends because it seems this is a really good process. And I believe we're doing about 6,000 shots a day, 24/7, which is nice. And now we're opening up in the state different sites in different locations as well.
Yeah, I feel it's safe. You know, you just have to have patience, but the real plus side of it is that you're not exposed to a lot of people, and you can stay in your car and sit the whole way through. So
yeah,
I think that's a real plus.
it's good.
Well, Mom, I'm so happy you got dose 1. You look great.
Thank you.
You know, it's don't just have a chamber hat. I'm a son, and I love you. And looking forward to. I know Dad will get the shot soon, and you know, knock on wood, we're able to safely see each other a lot more frequently than we have since COVID struck.
That's what I'm counting on, and I love you too.
All right, folks, it was a historic show, another one in the books. Mrs. Hammer, you should probably prepare for some level of celebrity from this video. So just be ready.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for joining the show.